Well, responsibility and everything along those lines is so important for innovation and everything else. With everything that we've talked about here, from that to creating the space, the people, what would you say for you, not just the most interesting, but the most important lesson about innovation you've learned that you'd like to share with people in closing? What would that important piece be?
I think the real lesson of innovation for me is that you have to constantly be going through a process of pattern recognition. I don't mean being a trend spotter or a cool hunter. Sometimes these patterns are very slow. Sometimes they're about unsexy things. They often don't have to do with what the kids in Williamsburg are doing this week. It is about seeing things that are happening in culture, often qualitatively at first. It may be then doing some research that looks at the scale of that. And then a lot of times it involves getting to know a community and really rolling up your sleeves and researching something in depth. But I think finding inspiration and ways of thinking from surprising places. A person whose opinion I really respect in this regard is Grant McCracken. He's written a book called Chief Culture Officer that argues that if a company is going to become a living and breathing organization, they need to have people within that organization at the very senior level whose focus is on the culture outside the walls of the company and not just the products and services within the organization. But another one of the things Grant argues is the importance of serendipity. That often it is being keenly, acutely aware of and listening to your surroundings, being able to empathize, because it is those skills that will cause you to notice something, pick up on something, identify something that you wouldn't have seen otherwise. And he shares a story, I believe it was from Bell Laboratories, where one of his interview subjects says, it was at the moment often when individual researchers in their laboratory who were working on vastly different projects went to lunch that the most problems were solved, because they sat down and started talking about what they were working on to one another, to people who were working on completely different projects and weren't necessarily experts in one another's space. And the questions that would come up and the things that would get described by very intelligent, innovative people who were talking to one another, once again, would be what would cause people to then be able to go back to work and suddenly solve all those problems. That lunch break plays the same function that we tried to play at MIT for groups who came together from vastly different spaces. Again, it is that virtual or conceptual space that allows this sort of thinking to happen, because I think if we get too categorical in our way of thinking, we eliminate the chance we might have to solving that problem we're working on.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much for your time today, Sam. We appreciate it.
Oh, no problem. I appreciate it, Mark. If you think of anything else, just let me know.